Good afternoon. For this week's discussion, I have chosen to highlight the Quakers and the benefit and change they not only brought to New England and American religion of the 17th century, but the changes they more or less forced the Puritans to accept. The Puritans, Johns Winthrop and Endicott, were a force of Christianity in the New World, and the rule of Puritanism dominated the colony they established. If it was not for the Quakers, John Cotton, Mary Dyer, Anne Hutchinson, and many others, the Puritan ways would have been a dominating religion in the New World for decades to come. The Quakers had returned to the colony that they had originally inhabited as Puritans, but after a time spent back in England, had returned to Boston as Quakers, or members of the Society of Friends. The Quakers, according to Puritan law, were prohibited from dwelling in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. This banishment was associated with Quakers in general, but even more so for ones involved in what was called, as I was saying, the banishment that was associated with Quakers in general, but more so for the ones involved in the antinomian controversy. This was a theological argument with Puritan belief and Reverend Wilson's preaching at the Boston church. Wilson's preaching appeared to be advocating a covenant of works which was disagreed upon and opposed by the antinomian covenant of grace new viewpoint as described by Battus and his Saints and Sectaries, and Hutchinson and the antinomian controversy in the Massachusetts Bay Colony. This controversy was a major change in the belief system from the Puritan way and in a direct opposition to the preachings of Wilson's Boston church. The antinomian controversy is more closely associated with the Baptist belief of salvation through grace, not works, which, as we know, is also a cornerstone of the Catholic Church, which both groups originally wished to part with. This stand by the people, as we know as Quakers, was a key milestone in the religious belief system in America at the time and still is today. This contribution by Quakers provided a foothold for other sects and belief systems to develop in the colony and the country. The antinomian controversy was a pivotal moment in the Christian history in New England, and the Quakers that stood firm in their beliefs were ultimately persecuted by the Puritans and exiled from the colony. Mary Dyer and others who held fast to their beliefs and ultimately paid the price, or paid the ultimate price, by not remaining exiled. Mary Dyer, who was executed by the Puritans in June of 1660, was one of the last and few women ever executed in the United States. This was a real win for the colonists that opposed the Puritans, as the king had forbid the execution of his subjects, and the Puritans, not wanting to incur his wrath, had abandoned the practice.